Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 64, Nintendo 64, if you like, and we are coming to you, well, not live, but, you know, the usual quarantine episodes. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, buddy?
I am melting. How are you?
The same, and I'm going to be Scottish about this. Not only am I melting, but I'm scunnered. It's been the 2 longest days. Normally in life, in my business, like obviously I do a lot of transcription work and writing work for people and making videos. The teaching side of things is something that I do less of these days because that's the way I kind of want it. But for some reason, either all of my patrons or new students, etc., all booked themselves in over the last 2 days. So over the last 2 days, today included, I've done like 10 hours of teaching, which for people that teach, you know, full time for a living, they look at that and they're like, absolutely fine. But again, I'm used to maybe doing 1 student a day. And I'm trying to fit in all this transcription work around it. So it's been an absolute nightmare. I'm absolutely scunnered, but you know, getting there. I was supposed to do a live stream after this, and I'm so tired. I'm literally not even going to do that stream tonight. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow instead. So yeah. What about yourself? How's life?
Sweaty. Otherwise, not bad.
Yeah.
That's about as deep as it gets for the weather at the moment, man. It's just killer. Like, for anyone that's never been to Scotland, 20 degrees here is like 70 degrees anywhere else on Earth. I don't know why. Like, even if the humidity's not high, it's just a different experience. Maybe that's just because I'm Scottish.
It's because we're not used to the heat. So when it comes, it's a massive surprise. I walked out of my studio earlier and the sun just hit me and I was like, wow, that is really warm. That's really nice. Like, if I could go to a beach right now, this would be wonderful. You could just relax outside in a beer garden with friends. No, we can't do any of those things. So we get our summer is gone, essentially. But, you know, such is life.
Not allowed.
We'll grin and bear it. Aside from that, I had a guy reach out to me after talking about... I had a few people reach out, actually, after talking about new cameras on the last episode. And one gentleman that works in video, in like film camera work, reached out and gave me a bunch of advice, which has been really cool. So I'm sort of looking to not just improve my camera rig, but also improve the overall look of some other things in my videos, upping the my color correction skills, etc. So I think that's the great thing about the show. We have a wonderful audience out there that you're all wonderfully talented and intelligent and attractive people, and we love you all very dearly, and we love it when you reach out and you can help us in any way. So I'm actually going to ask for more help from people in one of the segments later on, which you will see. But yeah, why don't I do the usual thing? Let me tell you something really interesting though. Did you know this show is brought to you by Ormsby Guitars? We want to thank Perry and the guys over at Ormsby for all of their support. It is very much appreciated. For those unfamiliar with Ormsby and what they do, they're wonderful guitars built by Perry out in Australia. And probably what they're most notable for in recent years is actually doing these runs of guitars that are actually built offshore and then brought into Australia for quality control and then sent on out. So if you head on over to ormsbyguitars.com and check out the pre-order section on their website, you can check out some of the upcoming runs, get involved for a very low price, and yeah, prepayment plans, payment over a series of months. Great way to get yourself a killer instrument and an absolutely killer price. So as always, thank you so much for the support, guys. Check them out and let them know that we sent you. Anyway, on with the show. Okay, so a massive thanks to our friends over at Ormsby. I actually, you obviously had seen this before. I made reference to it at the start of the podcast when we were talking, when we first started up this call. I've only just seen that Perry has, he was on Shark Tank in Australia, and that was uploaded to the Shark Tank YouTube page in like August of last year. I'm sure the clip is obviously a lot older than that, but it's really cool to watch. Really cool to watch. Not just from a perspective of seeing like how cool, calm, and collective Perry is in that, but also looking at all of the sharks. I'm used to saying dragons, but all of the sharks that are essentially looking at his business and saying, "You've got an amazing business here, and actually you've undervalued your business." Imagine like value in your business. I'm used to watching Dragon's Den, of course. You go into Dragon's Den, if you value your business at more than £10 in total value, you're going to be laughed out of the room. Perry goes in and values his business at $2 million Australian dollars, and they're like, "We think you've probably undervalued it a little bit here." So that's really cool.
I think they've been proven right by just how well things have been going for them. So
yeah, no, true. And mentioning somebody that we talked about on the show last time, Arnold Plays Guitar. just uploaded a video of him playing the GTX.
That's right, they got the black one, didn't
Yeah, yeah, which
Lucky bugger.
really makes me want one of those, man. I left a comment on his video and said, man, I really want a 7-string of these with an Evertune on it, and that's the condition. I need one with an Evertune on it. I own a 6-string Evertune, I own an 8-string Evertune, but I don't own a 7-string Evertune. So, you know, maybe we could get one of those sent. Perry, can you send one of those to Evertune, please? And they'll take care of they'll do it all. They'll take, and then it can go back to you afterwards, so you can see how fantastic the Evertune is. So
Perry's built guitars with Evertunes before.
Has he?
He built one,
right,
and fucking hated it because of the hassle it caused. So
yeah. Well, to be fair, I imagine based on the guitars that Perry builds, I must imagine that he has similar feelings and opinions on Floyd Rose bridges, because it's just not something that he ever really. He obviously does it. The Rusty Cooley one has one, but I just imagine the level of ball ache that is involved in getting a Floyd Rose in a guitar and having it right. And I'm very much of the opinion that even if you install a Floyd Rose perfectly in the guitar, you've still got a lesser instrument than before it had the Floyd Rose. I'm not a fan.
Trem hater.
Yeah, absolute trem hater. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about some things. Where shall we start today? Why don't we do the positive news first, the Dawsons story. We talked about Dawsons. Was it last episode or the episode before that?
I think it was actually the last episode.
Yeah, we speculated that obviously they went into administration, and we speculated that it's likely... Well, not likely, but Dawsons are a great business opportunity, and hopefully somebody would come in and buy them, because they have a lot of recognition behind that brand. They've been going for a long time. So I'll read this post. Dawsons posted 4 hours ago, actually, on Facebook, so this is hot off the press, if you like. As you may or may not be aware, Dawsons Music Limited was placed into administration on the 7th of May. We are pleased to announce that as of the 20th of May, Dawsons Music is under new ownership and now out of administration. If you have placed an order with us, we will be in touch as soon as we can regarding its progress. We're fully running, still running on significantly reduced staff levels due to the COVID-19 crisis, so please can we ask that you be patient with us while we work through this backlog of emails. So, that was fast. 13 days.
Wasn't half, and well done to them, especially this, let's just find somebody else, let's get in place and let's just hit the ground running and make sure we're fulfilling the orders that we've got.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. There's a reason they've been going a long time, and I think even with their problems, the ethic behind them as a company stands out.
Yeah, and I think the thing that pleased me most about this is just reading some of the comments on there. It's long-time customers that are happy to see that the store hasn't gone away. It's always a shame when a store with as much legacy as that disappears. Like, obviously, much smaller case, but up here in Wishaw, the idea of Magnum Sound no longer being there is it's a shame, but that's just kind of the way that one is now. And if something could have been done about that, better management, etc., then maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But that's the way that went. And so I'm glad that Dawsons is going to get another shot at it, and kind of reminds us to support your local music retailer if you have the opportunity, if you can buy locally or buy from support a company that gives you good service. Dawsons give good service. So good on you, Dawsons.
Absolutely. Music retail is a complicated and several-headed fucking beast, and for anybody to do well in it or from it, this, even especially right now during COVID, credit, the hat's off to you. I would take my hat off, but I look like a half-balding Wurzel Gummidge, so no.
Okay, I'll let you run this next story. So this is the bass guitar, the Australian Connor. So for those of us that we're going to read the story, but we're going to mention our good friend Connor, who has an infinitely better version of this story, because this happened to him, and not only did it happen to him, but he apprehended the assailant, if you like. And not only did all that happen, but he has documented proof that this happened, because he has the actual reports that were filed. Whereas this is just a story where the guy claims something happened. I'm sure it probably did, but go on, give it to us, Mike.
Okay, I'm going to say the name of this place wrong, but I'm going to say Truganina. Truganina man Mike fights off home intruders with bass guitar in Melbourne. So this was the 19th of May, so 10 days ago.
Yeah.
We probably could have covered it in the last one if we'd noticed, but well. So a Melbourne man has used his bass guitar to fight off armed home intruders who knocked down his front door and demanded the keys to his Mercedes. Mike said the men kicked their way into Gilby Road home in Truganina about 2 a.m. and threatened his partner with a knife. They demanded the keys to his Mercedes, but he couldn't find them in his office. That's when his eyes fell on his cheapest bass guitar. Fucking priorities, big man. I mean, cheapest usually means heaviest. We all know that Chinese copies are usually made of essentially stone. So,
good point.
It's good logic. I'll give him that. I couldn't find my car keys, so I picked up my 21st guitar and ran down the hallway yelling, "Bring it on, boys," Mike told 7 News. I decided to use it like a battle axe and chase them down the street. Is this fucking Leroy Jenkins?
I see.
It's just brazen.
I'm also like imagining, right? So threatens his partner with a knife and then says, right, go and get your keys. At what point during that did they then take the knife off of the partner and just go, put themselves in a position where a man could run at you with a bass guitar and you could immediately just remind him, you're aware that I'm pointing a knife at your significant other here, you absolute spanner. But, that's the story he's going with. He's sticking with it. So, sorry, carry on.
I'm not so sure they said that it was like being pointed at either of them. I think they just said they threatened the partner with a knife. So it could have been. Right, anyway. I think you're reading between the lines there. They might have just said, "Oh, do this," and he's just came at them like fucking a banshee, like, "Ah!" Which would be cool. Yeah. Right, so the 37-year-old damaged the getaway car that was waiting in the street with the musical instrument. Mike and his 28-year-old partner were shaken, but not physically injured. Detectives are appealing for information or for anyone who witnessed the car in the vicinity to come forward. The offenders are perceived to be Middle Eastern in appearance and wearing hooded jumpers had their faces covered.
So,
if they had their faces covered, how do you know where they're from? But we'll not even touch on that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Not as good as Connor.
Definitely not as good as
Connor got a fucking freebie, basically like a gift care package from Harley Benton. Yeah. Toman, because it was a Toman instrument he used.
Yeah.
So
yeah, So when Connor told me that story, which is essentially someone broke into his house and tried to steal from him, he picked up an 8-string guitar and chased the man with it. The man bolted. Connor jumped out of his window, the window in his house, and chased the man down the road until he caught up with him, battering him with this guitar to the point that he waited for the guard to come and get him, which is so ludicrous. Every time I hear that, I'm like, that didn't happen. But
I think that's just... Maybe people don't realise just how hardy the Irish actually are, considering how much goes on and has went on in the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Day-to-day basis, street by street, road by road.
Yeah.
Just that's it's a sobering reminder of how hard people can actually be.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, I just never think of Connor as being that, but such is life.
He's the sweetest guy in the world. Yeah. But everybody can be sweet and still be
lose the plot. Yeah,
they can still have that edge to them, shall we say?
I have to point out one of my other favourite things about this story, and I talk about this. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I've certainly mentioned it in social circles. One of my favourite things.
It's the name Mike. It's your favourite name.
Well, that is true.
Thanks, Levi. Thanks, mate.
One of my favourite things is like these kind of these B-roll news stories that you see, and like they make a point out of them on like Evan Almighty, Bruce Almighty, like where they're having to cover these stories. Local man makes 400-foot pizza, etc. Right? I love reading about these, not necessarily because of the story themselves, but because when the journalists cover them, they get to turn up and take a photo of the person, and they always get them to do something that tries to encompass the entire story in a picture. And this one. It's included a picture of him standing on his lawn like he's swinging the bass guitar, and underneath it says Mike reenacting chasing the home intruders outside. Like
that's a screenshot for a video. Look how blurry that is. He's come running out his house to do a reenactment.
That will absolutely that'll absolutely be in the news report. And it just seems it's hilarious to me, the idea that they went to interview this guy. They went, well, as we're here, would you mind running out onto your lawn and swinging your bass guitar so we can really imagine what happened here, because the description of man chases men out of his guitar while wielding bass guitar didn't paint that picture enough. They needed him to reenact it. So I always
people don't know what a bass
like
guitar looks like,
Yeah, fair. And there's two pictures at the top of the story, and I'll include all of these, of course. One of them, he looks unbelievably happy, and the other one, it's almost like the second of these two was after he'd been interviewed by the fifth press outlet and had to take a photo. At that point, he's like, I've really got over the novelty of this, guys. Do you not understand what it looks like to have a man lifting a bass guitar like he's about to hit you with it? But yeah, good on you, Mike.
I have a tremendous comment about these two comments that might be quite a nice segue.
Go on.
Right? So looking at happy on the left-hand side, not so happy on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, that's Cliff Burton well recording bass for Injustice for All. And the right-hand side is Cliff Burton when he hears the final mix, where there was no bass.
But Cliff didn't play on Injustice for All. He was dead at that point. So that's the worst.
That's not Cliff. You're right. You're absolutely right.
That was oh shit! Who played it? I can Jason Newsted.
Jason Newsted. It's him that get mixed out. That's right.
Yeah, because of the Cliff thing. But okay, you've kind of used that as a segue.
Nearly a segue. Fucked it. But I mean, it would matter most if Metallica were relevant these days, I think. So I'll forgive myself.
Yeah, fair point. This story comes from Blabbermouth. Cliff Burton's pre-Metallica band Trauma to release fourth album this fall. Right, okay. Let's talk about this. I'm going to spin this off into an actual much more interesting story, but just the idea that Metallica fans can remember what the first bass player in the band that played on three records with the band that he was in before he was in the band they like. Let's remember this is a man that I think died in 1986, so he's been dead for like 34 years or so.
I will tell you right now. I'm just going to Google.
That feels about right to me.
1986.
Yeah.
Well done.
No, it's almost like I researched a little bit.
Almost.
Yeah. But the idea that he was in a band before Metallica, and that band are still, when it comes to releasing stuff, still using that as a beacon of why they matter, is absurd to me. Absolutely absurd to me. What do you think?
It doesn't necessarily offend me, to be honest, but I don't think you're wrong, especially when they're talking about this being their fourth album.
Yeah.
He joined Metallica at 1980.
Mm-hmm.
So this band has been going since, hasn't had Cliff since, let's say 1980, right?
Yeah.
Say he left Trauma to join Metallica. That, as you pointed out, that's 40 years. Like, this is an inactive band who probably I've never heard of, so they don't have a cult status. Just why?
Yeah, it's like Quiet Riot. You know, Randy Rhoads was in the band Quiet Riot, but they don't advertise that. You know, Randy Rhoads' old band Quiet Riot released a new album, or Exodus. You don't see Exodus going Kirk Hammett's old band. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems really. What does that say about the bass player that's currently in the band? How does he take that?
Greg Christian, who used to be in Testament.
Right, okay.
So, another famous bass player who played for the band who's not getting any recognition. You know what I mean?
Because he gets to live under the banner of Cliff, which is a bit of a shame. Okay, so I'll spin this off into the story that I found really interesting. Right, so every night when I'm sat alone in bed. I'm not alone in bed, actually. I'm married. What am I talking about? But when I'm lying in bed,
There you go.
When I'm lying in bed at night and I pick up my phone and I like to read Reddit, okay? And there was a story on there on Data is Beautiful, and it's what's the biggest one-hit wonder on Spotify. And I deliberately didn't share this in the group because I like the idea of talking about the one-hit wonders and what you would consider to be or what may be the biggest one-hit wonders. And I tried to actually spin this off into a fun little game that we could play, whereby I would maybe read you lyrics from a rock or metal one-hit wonder and see if you could remember the name of the band that played that one-hit wonder.
Let's try it.
I couldn't really do that, and the reason I couldn't really do that is because there are some examples in rock and metal of that, like Inagada Davida by Iron Butterfly and things like that, but generally speaking, I find that music in rock and metal, or it's of my opinion that in that genre, the fan base tend to be less vapid. They take more, there's more time and respect for the band. Great example, I just said respect, right? Wheatus. We'd think of them as being a one-hit wonder, right? But they also did A Little Respect, which was quite successful. You could say
Correct.
Alien Ant Farm were a one-hit wonder band. Well, again, they might have achieved mainstream success with the Michael Jackson cover, but, you know, Movies was a big hit. So I think it's much harder to find it in the rock and metal world. So I wasn't able to do that. But
I disagree with you. You've got Trapped, Headstrong.
Well, that was initially the actual band that made me think that this would be funny and we'd be able to pull that in. And of course, Chris Taylor Brown is having his own meltdowns currently.
Again?
But yeah, of course. But I don't want to give him the attention now. So what we have here is on this chart, it's Spotify songs listed, accredited to an artist, and there's a bar graph for them, and it's blue and green, and the blue graph represents the percentage of plays from the artist's top song, and then the green represents the percentage of plays of the artist's other songs. So to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, the number one, the biggest one-hit wonder on Spotify, 99.5% of their plays are for one of their songs. The other right. 0.5% is for just one other song. So what do you think would name? Are
these metal bands or just?
No, these are pop, rock, blues. Anything. Just reel off some what you would consider to be classic one-hit wonders.
Breakfast and Tiffanys.
Breakfast at Tiffanys. Is that
she
on this
said,
list?
I think
that is on the list. Yeah,
I knew that would be up there because
okay.
That was a big one-hit wonder.
Who's it by?
I can picture the music video and I could not tell you the name of the band. Yeah. You say we got no. I couldn't tell you the band name.
It's Deep Blue something. And 96.5% of the all of the plays on their Spotify page are that song. Which
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Any others that you might throw out there as being one-hit wonders? Classic one-hit wonders.
Nancy's going to hate me for this because she plays a lot of like pop songs for the 90s and 2000s that are like one-hit wonders that I sing along with and I know them, and then I'm like, no idea who that is or how I know the song, but I know it. Give me some hints. If you can.
It's a long list, right? The lowest placed one on the list is "Take on Me" by a-ha. Now, I don't know if I'd necessarily consider that a one-hit wonder, but they certainly are very known for that song. But to give you the numbers, that's 33.7%. So it's not actually that high. Old Town Road, Lil Nas X, that's 39% of his plays on Spotify. So we're not into proper...
See, I don't think that's really a one-hit wonder. That's more so one song of a young artist's career has done well and the rest haven't caught up. So the top of the list probably more so like people who have... released songs, one song's been out and nothing else has done well.
Yeah, that's right. What if I told you the next one was I'm Too Sexy?
Right Said Fred.
There we go. We got the band name.
Away and shite. Right Said Fred's a one-hit wonder. They're an institution.
How about we'll try it this way then, right? I'll read you the name of the song. See if you can tell me who did the song.
Right, I'll start.
Bittersweet Symphony.
How are the Verve a one-hit wonder?
I get one-hit wonder is, I guess, just the name they're associating with this. It's
That's
just
a stupid thing because the Drugs Don't Work's a bigger song than Bittersweet Symphony.
Well, based on their Spotify plays, 63.4% of the plays they get on their Spotify is for Bittersweet Symphony.
Because it's an absolute banger.
Okay, Ice Ice Baby.
Unlicensed bastard vanilla.
The Macarena.
False mariachi band.
Los Del Rio. Somebody that I used to know.
Gotchi.
Yeah. Tainted Love.
What version?
The original.
The original is it's not Soft Cell, isn't it? Not.
It is Soft Cell, yeah.
That is Soft Cell.
Baby Got Back.
Oh, that's fucking MC Hammer. No, it's not. That's
No.
Not in my head. That's what it is.
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh, that's right.
Stacey's Mum.
That was the one I was going to say. Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah. 80% of their plays on Spotify down to that song. You'll like this one. I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles.
The Proclaimers. Again, not actually really a one-hit wonder, but again, we'll go by Spotify's rules.
81% of their plays are for that song. It's hard because one hit, you're totally right. So that's actually the lower end. Of what I'm going to do is I'll just do the top 10. So
let me guess them. I'm enjoying this.
It's just there's a lot more ahead of this. Okay, what is love?
Baby Don't Hurt Me, but I don't know who it is that done it.
It's Hadaway.
Hadaway, fuck so it is.
Who let the dogs out?
The Baha Men.
Yeah, good. Dragon Steed Dinte? Is that what that says?
Dragon
fucking Steed Dinte?
That's that Razor Blade saying no man, no my. Remember Numa Numa guy?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Is that D'Agostino or something? It's the band's called
Ozone?
Ozone. Maybe I'm thinking the name or like another name for the song.
Eye of the Tiger.
Fuck, who was it? The Eye of the Tiger.
I like this because people will be listening to this screaming the answer at you.
Well, you know what? Fuck them. I don't know.
Survivor. There She Goes.
The Course?
The Lars.
The Lars?
Yeah.
There She Goes. I'm sure that was the Course, was it not? Am I tripping?
Yeah, I definitely think you're tripping.
There she goes. That one?
Yeah. The Lars. Mambo number 5.
Lou Vega.
Yeah.
And he also brought another song out last year
He did.
with a Scatman called Scatman and Hatman. And that is a banger.
Teenage Dirtbag.
Wheatus.
Yeah. So that's 92% of their plays, which is ridiculous.
Doesn't surprise me.
Walking on Sunshine.
I know the song. I couldn't tell you who it was that song it.
It's Katrina and the Waves.
Katrina and the Waves.
My Sharona.
The Knack.
Good. 95% of their plays. I Just Died in Your Arms.
This is on the radio every day.
Yeah.
I mean, every day. And I could not tell you the artist.
Cutting Crew.
Cutting Crew. Fuck, I knew that. I'm talking shite.
Jingle Bell Rock.
Santa.
Bobby Helms. Okay.
Got to turn this fan off 2 seconds.
No worries. This next one, I'll give bonus points for anyone listening to this that can not just name the band that had the original one-hit wonder, but then the band that covered this song and were also a one-hit wonder. So who originally recorded the song Black Betty?
Is that not the Jam? Not the Jam.
Close.
Ram Jam?
Yeah, Ram Jam. Who covered it, though? Do you remember this being on Kerrang around, I don't know, late 2000s?
Was it something like Soil or something shit?
Spiderbait.
Spiderbait.
I'm pretty sure.
That is the worst band name I've ever heard. And I'm glad I didn't know that answer because that would confirm that the worst band name I've ever had would have to be in my brain. I can think of more offensive band names that aren't as bad as that.
The beauty of this list, right, is that they should be harder the higher we go on this list, because there should be that frustration of when I say who recorded Dancing in the Moonlight.
Are you talking about Thin Lizzy?
No.
Oh, Starsailor had the cover that was really popular.
Yep.
But the original, it's probably some wank like Elvis Costello.
Top Loader.
Top Loader. Fucking
Hooked on a Feeling.
Hasselhoff.
Blue Suede. Sugar.
Hasselhoff done a cover of that, so I should get bonus points for that.
I'll give you the points.
Sugar, not a fucking clue.
The Archies. I don't even know this one. Jordan Belfort. I don't know the tune. There's actually some of these like I genuinely don't know the song. The next few I don't know that one. Better Off Alone. Oh, Better Off Alone. I know Better Off Alone.
Do you think you're better love? Yeah. Is that Alice DJ?
It is.
Fucking yes.
Hey, mega points for that one. The best one, the one at the top, you will get this. And
you know what I liked? Just sorry before you moved on. See all of those songs that came out late 90s, early 2000s that were really bad dance songs.
Yeah.
They always had great a cappella vocals on them.
Yeah.
And that kind of got me into the idea of listening to really good vocals over the top of any song can make a bad song good.
Sure.
Sorry, continue.
Watch Me, Whip Nay Nay. Don't know that song.
Is it Soulja Boy that done Watch Me Nay Nay?
It's Silento.
It's It's essentially a song
Silente?
that's meant to be like mental, silly dance moves.
Right.
You'll have seen people doing the whip and the nay and the stanky leg,
Right.
which is all from the same song.
Okay. Stuck in the Middle with You.
Pass.
It's Steelers Wheel.
I wouldn't have got that.
Okay.
It's not what I thought it was.
All right. She's So High.
Pass.
Okay, that's Tal Bachman. And
I
now the
don't
top
even know
two.
that song.
The top two, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've had the time of my life.
Nancy's going to hate me at the end of this, man. Really hate me, because that's the kind of thing that she would want played at any function we ever host.
Fair, but our significant others don't listen to our podcast, so don't worry.
I don't know. It's on Nancy's. She's got hundreds of playlists on Spotify, and one of them's like the greatest duets, male female of all time, and that's up there.
It's
And
Bill.
I could not tell you who.
It's Bill Medley. Panzer Ballet do a wonderful, wonderful cover of that, which I would recommend people check out.
That's a band I've not listened to in ages, and that is definitely a band worth checking. Their version of Take 5, which is in 2 different time signatures, is fucking obscene.
Yeah. Okay, number 1, Spirit in the Sky.
Who done the original?
Yeah. Gareth Gates did a cover, didn't he?
He did, that's right. I could remember, was like Shane Meadows or somebody on the telly, no one like done a version of it as well. Somebody for fucking EastEnders or that. The original, not a clue.
It's by Norman Greenbaum. 99.5% of his plays on Spotify are from Spirit in the Sky. So yeah, I'd be interested to get our viewers' thoughts on what really defines a one-hit wonder for you.
What's your favourite one-hit wonder?
I mean, from this list or
in general, and I'm putting that right back on you.
Well, I want to say Headstrong, don't I? No. Favorite one-hit wonder.
That's not even your favourite trap song, and you don't know any other ones.
That's absolutely true. The one that comes to my mind, and this totally doesn't actually answer the question because it's not even a good one-hit wonder, but in terms of one-hit wonders that then influenced me to go on to be a big fan of the band, would be Pull Me Under by Dream Theater. That was the one bit of commercial success they had.
I thought Hollow Years done all right.
Not compared to Pull Me Under. Pull Me Under was huge.
Was it?
Yeah. Like when they released their Greatest Hits album, it was literally called Greatest Hit and 21 other good songs, or 21 other pretty good songs.
At least they've got a sense of humour about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that song was absolutely huge for them, and shame because I don't actually think it's a very good song, but such is life. What about you? Favorite one-hit wonder?
My favourite, I don't know, but I'm surprised we've never seen Teenage Kicks, the Undertones, on that list. Fun fact, Party Cannon supported the Undertones at a gig in Dumfries.
Amazing.
Sorry, I say supported. We played after the Undertones.
So they supported you?
In a sense. They supported a death metal gig after theirs.
Okay.
That was for the Big Burn Supper in Dumfries. That was good fun. Okay. The changing room that was meant to be for them was actually just like a porta hut that everybody sat in. So there was about 30 people in this tiny porta hut. I felt really bad for the guys because they're in there trying to dry off after playing a full set, thinking that was great, yeah, brilliant, I was really into it. We were like the headliner for this big event, and there's all these smelly moshers sitting about like, all right, mate, want a can of cider?
It's a really frustrating one because I think when you ask that question to people that are listening to the show right now, they're probably going to struggle to think of a one-hit wonder, because I just think that, at least for me, certainly the way that I listen to music, if I like something, it's in my nature to then go and research more about the band. And then when you would later on call that band or that song a one-hit wonder, it's hard for me to agree, because to me, if I liked the band that much, I put so much time into absorbing everything else they ever did. So yeah.
Natalie and Imbruglia, Torn, Eagle Eye Cherry, Save Tonight. There's 2 belters. I mean, I know Eagle Eye Cherry had a couple more songs like Mr. Jones and that, but Natalie and Imbruglia didn't have a lot, and Torn wasn't even her song, it was a cover.
It surprises me that Barbie Girl isn't on there.
Because there was Witch Doctor as well.
Was that as big a hit? Oh, I guess actually.
It certainly wasn't a one-hit wonder. Don't you dare talk about the cartoonies like that.
What if I said no? But Barbie Girl
Laugh
was
at
by
myself,
Barbie Girl was
dick.
by Aqua.
So it was, even worse.
What if I said ooh ee ooh ah ah ting tang a walla walla bing bang?
That was the cartoonies.
Yeah.
Witch Doctor.
Or a Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and a Pizza Hut.
Put that in the bin.
Yeah, honestly, I think you could have a ridiculous game where you just read out lyrics to songs and see the frustration in the other person's eyes when they can't work out what the bloody song is.
I've decided to have a quick Google while we're talking, right? Just over, like, because you really piqued my interest on, like, what are good one-hit wonders for the 90s?
Yeah.
Babylon Zoo, Spaceman.
Yeah, Spaceman.
That was a fucking banger.
Yeah. That is really like quintessential one-hit wonder stuff where the song is genuinely that good, and they just could. It's impossible to ever reach that level of success with the song after that. Yeah,
I've got one that's on this list as well that is actually a banger. It's not really a one-hit wonder per se because they had a couple more singles and they're absolutely worth listening to. Semisonic, Closing Time.
Yeah, that's a good tune.
But then you had Secret Smile as well as Get a Grip and all their other songs. Very, very, very clever songwriters. Like Nancy's older brother Dave was really into them. And I'd only ever heard Secret Smile and Closing Time. I didn't know Closing Time that well. And they're like, oh, this song's about giving birth. It's about a child being born, brought into the world. It's like, oh, that's really cool. And then Get a Grip is a song about masturbating. But it's like not obvious, but at the same time it is. And it's really, really, really well done and it's really catchy. Oh, there's a one-hit wonder, rock and metal. You remember A? They were big on Kerrang. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
And it was really, really middle of the road.
But that was why I actually thought this would be an easy subject. I thought I'd be able to look at like new metal bands from that era and it would just be one hit wonder after one hit wonder, like Spine Shank. Like, what songs did Spine
New
Shank
Disease.
do? Yeah,
that's
but
a
what else
belter.
did they do?
I think they had any.
Yeah. Drowning Pool.
Nobody. They had a couple. They had Bodies and they had Tearaway.
Um,
Tearaway is arguably a better song than Bodies.
I would definitely agree that Tearaway is a better song than Bodies, but I don't think it was a hit for them.
Not as commercially.
After that, when their new singer, they brought the new singer in. What was his name? The original was Dave Williams, and I can't remember.
He died.
What the next singer was, but
the guy for Soil, was it not?
He came in after that guy.
All right, okay.
Yeah, they put out a record after that there was a good song on that, and I can't remember what there was. What was that? Socket
Crazy Town, Butterfly.
Yes.
Easily the worst song, worst video, worst band ever, and still huge.
Why can I?
Actually, they're not arguably the worst, but another good one. Green Jelly, Three Little Pigs.
So I kept seeing that on lists, but I don't think I know that song.
It is Three Little Pigs, but it's like a punk song.
Right.
And the chorus goes like, little pig, let me in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. It's tremendous, and it's like claymation video. I tried to put it on for Finlay the other day, and it was on for about 10 seconds. He went, that's too loud, turn that off, I don't like that. I was like, Finlay, if you listen to it, you will like it. It's the story about the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf. And he just wasn't having it. But I can't believe you don't know Green Jelly, Three Little Pigs. Another one that I've just thought about, fucking Ugly Kid Joe, Hate Everything About You.
Yeah.
Banger. Lit, My Own Worst Enemy, not a banger.
So, listeners, please do let us know what you think would be the classic rock and metal one-hit wonders. I genuinely would like to know. And for anyone that has been screaming at me and couldn't remember the name of that Drowning Pool song from their second album that was quite good, it was Step Up. If you want to step up, you're going to get knocked down. No, it was...
that wasn't good. That's like Hell Yeah or something. Man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But when that was released, that was 2004, right? That was what I needed. This is like a slightly more metal version of Headstrong, right?
It sounds like early Stone Sour.
Yeah.
That same, it's like hardcore, almost thrashy southern metal.
Yeah.
I drive a big truck and I love diesel smoke.
CJ Pierce, who was their guitar player, I know he was like in that kind of Dimebag camp. He was part of that scene, so it wouldn't surprise me if they were all very influential on each other. I've not listened to them since that album, so Maybe I should check them out. Probably shouldn't. Probably definitely shouldn't. No?
There's one other song I want to add to this list before that, but I know I'm totally holding the show up.
I like this. I like this level of frustration that the concept of one-hit wonders provides for people.
This song is a banger, right? And for no reason in particular or that makes any sense reminds me of my papa. Right? Saves the Day at Your Funeral. You remember that one?
I don't know.
Oh, are you kidding on? That's a great song.
It's one of those where if I heard it,
I'm going to send
would.
it to you. So it starts off just a clean guitar, and it's just like one guitar clean and one guy singing. The song will become the anthem of your underground. You're 2 floors down, getting high in the back room.
We could just have a podcast where you just sing to people. I think they'd enjoy that.
Well, I mean, I was going to keep it a secret, but there might be some singing coming.
Yeah, there is definitely some singing stuff coming.
We'll see if people are into it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sending you this tune on Facebook, by the way, because it's a banger.
I'll check it after the show. Okay, let's move on to the new guitar that I desperately want to own.
Well, that could be one of two, to be fair, in this episode. I know the one you mean, but it could be the other one.
You do know the one I mean. So we've been over the last couple of episodes, we keep bringing up ridiculously stupid guitars that have been for sale that you could buy if you chose to. And generally speaking, I think this one for most people is going to fall into that exact same category as the Twisted Les Paul or the person that sanded the back off of their fucking Ernie Ball Majesty. But somebody is selling a crystal encrusted Gibson Zakk Wylde Les Paul Custom Bullseye on Refurb. I've got some pictures up of it now, right?
You should use the brand name because Swarovski usually means more than saying crystal.
Does that make a difference?
I think so, because they've went to the effort of saying Swarovski. I think they're like the higher tier of not having a diamond but somehow like a diamond.
That it's ultimately all the Swarovski stuff is still all costume jewellery at the end of the day.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I also think that diamonds are completely valueless unless you actually think they're worth anything.
Yeah.
But whether I think they're worth anything and whether the market can demand money and people spend it is a different thing. But
well, we could almost argue that about anything.
No, but I mean, like, diamonds genuinely inherently have absolutely no value, and the value on them was artificially increased and held by fake supply and demand and companies running really good advertising campaigns. But we're digressing. I'm really bad for this. I'm sorry. A Swarovski encrusted Gibson Zakk Wylde Les Paul Custom Bullseye.
Yeah, and people are going to want to punch me for this, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
But Levi, people also probably don't know that you sign your name with a star above the I.
And a crown on the Y.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, of course you're going to love a guitar that has 4,000 4mm crystals and 24 karat gold hardware. Of course you're going to love this. And it's Zakk Wylde. This was made for you. It was made for you. See if it had an Evertune. I could see you running through the internet to get it.
I hate myself for it. I genuinely hate myself for it, but I love it. I'm just every time I look at this, I'm like, it's so beautiful. I must have it. But I can't have it because unfortunately the person is trying to sell it for $11,429.86.
It's been done by UK-based luthiers. So if you can convert the price and you can have a good chat with them, maybe you could get it. I'm sure Haley won't mind you remortgaging the house so you can afford it.
I've just bought new fucking cameras, right? I can't afford another guitar.
I'm only kidding. Anyway.
And that's single-handedly the only reason that I'm not buying this guitar. Because if I hadn't just bought new cameras, I absolutely would be buying this guitar.
See, your problem is you've went on your Reverb and you set your currency as dollars, right? If you get into pounds, it's a bit less hard to stomach. £8,900, then £55 for shipping.
That tells me that if it's £55 for shipping, it must. It's Pat Guitars in London.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so I might. Yeah, I was going to say I might not be able to own this guitar, but there is a very real possibility that I could go and play it. More specifically, and I'm still going to try and get you to come to this, but in November when I'm down in London to do the London Guitar Summit, maybe I could, if it's still in stock, maybe I could go down to Pat's Guitars and take a look at it because It's absolutely stunning. I love it so much.
Depending entirely on the date, man, I'm there.
Have they done something with the frets as well? Are the frets also gold?
I think the frets are gold, and I think the strings are also gold.
Well, that's a shame, because if you've got actual gold frets on there, they're going to wear unbelievably fast.
They'll probably be gold plated just for the look. I can't imagine them actually being gold. But
Guitars purchased new by the vendor for a fashion event. Okay. Customized to be encrusted with 4,000 of the world's finest Swarovski crystals, each measuring exactly 4 millimeters in diameter. Hardware is replated, coat of 24 karat gold, including frets and strings which don't rust. Work was done by Kim Webber and Graham Baker. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Really wish
absolutely
I could have
pointless.
it. Yeah, I know you hate it, but
I don't hate it, to be fair.
I understand. I appreciate it's a ridiculous instrument.
if I had a lot of fuck you money, which is expendable income,
yeah,
I would absolutely be like, get me that. I'll put it in the wall. It'll be in a cool case. You can come and look at it, touch it if you want. But otherwise,
if you owned that guitar, Mike, I would be as hard as it is for me to not be able to buy that guitar right now. That's just to paint a picture for you there. That's the camera is pointing upwards for a good reason, because my trousers are close to be ruined every time I look at a picture of it. So thank you, lovely people of the internet, for creating something so awesome and yet so terrible at the same time.
You should message Kim Webber and Graham Baker and send them one of your guitars and see if they could do that for you.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier on in the show that I was going to be making a call out to our fans, our followers. I would like your input on this. I haven't actually brought this up and said that we were going to talk about this, because I completely forgot that I was going to talk about this. But this is that guy that was trying to trade somebody else's guitar to them. I know that doesn't make much sense without a little bit more context. So do you want to read this, or shall I do this?
I don't have the original post. I've just got the screenshots, but I remember pretty much what it's about.
Yeah. Essentially, there was a scammer that was trying to trade a guitar on Facebook Marketplace, $3,200 for a Mermit Fear baritone, I believe. Unfortunately, he didn't own this guitar, so someone else owned this guitar. He had pictures of it that he'd taken from that person. He was essentially trying to shop that guitar around to other people. On its own, not massively ridiculous, because that sort of shit does happen. But then the guy tried to trade it with the person that actually owned the guitar.
It's his replies that are the best.
Yeah, when he got called out on this, the scammer tried to pretend that nothing was happening. Are you okay to read the screenshots?
Do you want to read one part and I'll read the other? I'll happy to be.
I'll be scammer.
Done. Right. Okay.
Okay. So scammer says, trade for.
You know this is my guitar, right? Which you are trying to sell and trade to others. Scammer.
I'm not a scammer.
You posted this guitar for sale in the Seattle Craigslist.
No, I didn't. Guy named Mitch did.
That's not the info I got.
Don't know what to tell you then. Bye.
Then there's a screenshot of this person sending photos of the guitar to someone else.
Okay, and?
So you are offering to trade this to someone else. You don't own this.
Of course I don't own it.
So why are you offering to trade it?
I'm not.
That screenshot is you offering to trade this.
It looks like it says any interest in a custom baritone.
Cue the second screenshot, which says interested in trading the Mehmet baritone for a Wood Library PRS. Somebody else says what year and model, and then this gentleman sent photos of this guitar again, and also went to the effort of writing quite a bit of information about it. 2010 ultra quilted Modelo Wood Library custom 24 mint condition. Have it listed for $5,000.
Yep.
How about this one?
What about it?
You again are offering to trade the Mermit baritone for a PRS.
Yeah.
So,
this is Douglas Ulison. Douglas Ulison. That's Olauson. Do not do business with this man. If you see him posting in any groups, make admins aware. That's not how I'm going to reach out and ask for your help, though, guys. The way I'm going to ask for your help, and this is something me and Mike had talked about, we've mentioned it on the show beforehand, right? But we don't really have the effort or energy to do this. And I'm opening this up to you guys. If you would like to be involved in the Guitar Souls podcast, if you would like to be featured on the Guitar Souls podcast, we would like to ask you to submit your... I've not run this by Mike, to be fair. He might go, don't do that. I would like you guys to submit your own submissions of Chance's answers. So, if you see someone on Facebook or Craigslist or Gumtree or eBay or whatever selling something that's illegitimate, trying to pass something off as fake, trying to sell something for 20 times more than it's actually worth, talk to them. Get some information. Ask the chancer what the hell they think they're doing, and then send us screenshots of the conversation that happens. Because there's nothing funnier than situations like this. I mean, it's a bit hyperbole, but it's always very funny to see someone sweat in a situation like this when they've essentially been caught out. Like, you contact someone on eBay and say, why are you trying to pass that Chinese fake off as a genuine Ibanez Steve Vai model? And the panic when they're caught out and the spinning of plates starting to come crashing down around them as they desperately try and explain what's going on is good fun. So if anybody would like to participate in an episode of Chance's Answers, we would love to have you be part of the crew. So Chance's Answers. Chance's Answers.
I think we should maybe explain what Chance's Answers is, just in case there's anyone who didn't catch earlier episodes where we had discussed the idea of doing this.
Go for it.
So, for any of you who are unaware, I am a bit of a Del boy sometimes when it comes to buying and selling and trading equipment. I generally don't hold on to equipment very long, except my Ormsby's probably the longest I've owned any guitars. Except maybe another few that I had when I was younger. Anyway, long story short, more often than not, I find myself as in I usually instigate this. When I see adverts that are either too good to be true or clearly not true or counterfeit, engaging with the person who's selling. Sometimes for my own humour, just to be a wido to lead them on, like you do with telemarketers that phone you talking about how you want, we're just wondering if you want to buy double glazing. Like, absolutely no bother, and then you get to the end and you explain to them you'll not be able to fit it because I live in a submarine. Just being a dickhead, you know what I mean? Wasting their time as much as they try to waste yours.
Yeah.
Maybe making somebody's day at work. They can just go along with it and laugh.
Yeah.
Or, in more serious cases, try and call them out and make a point of saying, listen, not fucking cool. This is quite a good community we've got. People generally look after each other. Not good enough. And I had a few interactions in the last couple of months where I've been wrong, and every single time before I'm proven wrong, I say, if I am wrong, egg in my face, happy to turn around and say, I'm glad I'm wrong, because my point isn't to embarrass anybody or to be an asshole. My point is to protect everybody. It's the best interest for the best for the most.
Yeah.
For the many, not the few. Jeremy Corbyn. I know Jeremy Corbyn.
One more thing I'm going to have to edit out. Thanks, Mike.
I know. Not that much a supporter, but that's again beside the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, long story short, I like challenging people when they've put things up that seem shady.
Yep.
Either by being brazen and just straight in like, there's no way that's real, or just asking them, leading them on. And we had thought about doing a segment as part of the show called Chancer's Answers, where it's people who think that a absolutely fucked, neglected, not looked after, but not necessarily scratched, just not maintained £100 Squire Strat they got from Argos is going to go for 250 quid because they've seen that some Korean ones, some Japanese ones go for more.
Yeah.
Or the more common one, which is the clearly sanded off the headstock and put a really bad water transfer decal on it.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's this one, and the neck plate doesn't match. It doesn't have the right, even the right place for truss rod adjustment, or the wood's not in the right place. Just all the wee things that, like, as you get older and you get into these things, you realise, nah. Anyway, Chancer's Answer was going to be essentially us questioning them and basically like putting them on the spot, like, you're on Chancer's Answers, the public are going to know about what you're up to. What do you think about that? And then we thought maybe that's a bit socially irresponsible, just in case it causes any problems. And I can't be asked with people coming to my door and want to fight me or anything like that, so
well, we
kind of backed off.
I can.
We kind of backed off, but that doesn't mean that, and Levi's iteration of talking about it right now, that it won't happen. So,
yeah, but it's not about attacking people, right? We're happy to run these things without naming people. Like, that's not what's important here. This podcast is not for social change. That's not what it. If that's a byproduct of it, fantastic. If we encourage our community to be better, awesome. But I would never say that is the focus of what we're doing here. What we're doing here is just trying to entertain you. We are just trying to make your day a little bit brighter, make you laugh. We want to laugh at people doing stupid things. And if you can have a conversation with somebody where they end up either incriminating themselves, making themselves look stupid, or you just outright catch someone with their hand in the cookie jar, right? That's funny to me, and we'll laugh at that. If you have a conversation with someone and you're actually wrong, and you're accusing them of something that they haven't actually done, well, not only are we not going to be running that, but we're also going to call you out and say, the important thing about making an accusation is that you're right before you make the accusation.
yes.
Don't make an accusation with the hope of being funny about it, So,
And it's fair you say that, because the example I was talking about where I've had interactions with people where I have had to say from basically the point of the start, despite getting shit from the person in question, is it wasn't like I know this is fake, or it wasn't even an argument. I think the comment I made was, people have got concerns about the legitimacy of this post. It would do you a great favour even just to take some more photos with your name on a bit of paper and the date sitting next to the guitar, and then there's no ambiguity.
Yep.
Like, simple as that. And that's when I started getting shit for a few guys. I was like, look, you can give me shit what you want. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep everybody, interested parties, safe. Surely that's a good thing, but...
Well, mob mentality, people love it. Okay, two more things. One is this Prince guitar. So the most significant Prince guitar that'll ever come up for auction is for sale. The long-lost Blue Angel Cloud guitar will be up for bidding, and it's got a, quote, lot of mojo. Cool. So it turns out that Kurt Cobain's Nirvana MTV Unplugged mine isn't the only headline-grabbing guitar going up for auction at Julian's in Beverly Hills next month. One of the most desirable guitars Prince ever owned is also up for sale. But even though the auction house reportedly didn't even realise just how significant the 1984 Cloud Design guitar was at first. The auction house first announced that the guitar was simply listed as a custom-made 1984 Blue Cloud guitar used by Prince, but its significance is now clear. Cloud expert John Woodland called the auction house after seeing the initial listing. He suspected it was one of the first Cloud 4 Cloud guitars ever made for Prince, and that it was the fabled Blue Angel. That seems really strange to me, as an aside. Like, if you see that, if you see it and go, okay, this looks like it's worth more than it's probably going to be listed for, surely you buy it. Surely that's how that works.
You think that?
Yeah, it would be the smart thing to do. He later authenticated it with the help of a CT scan organised by Julian's. So Julian's has declined to say where exactly the guitar has been for all these years, except for stating that it's been in a private collection since the 90s and gifted by Prince to its current owner. In the sea of clouds, because there are a lot of them, the thing that brings a collectible guitar the most value is how much mojo it has, Laura Woolley, consulting specialist for Julian's, told Rolling Stone. Prince came into the collective consciousness in the 80s and was one of his primary performing guitars at this time, so there is a lot of mojo, which is just a ridiculous thing to say, right? I've buried crystals in the guitar. It's magic now. The original Cloud guitar... I can speak, I promise. The original Cloud design has been the source of dispute between the Prince estate and luthier Dave Rusin. The creators of the Blue Angel guitar are listed as O'Hagan Guitar Company. Luthiers Tommy Stinson, not the replacement bassist of the same name, Dave Rusin and Barry Haugen, plus Martin Sampson. I'm just looking for a price. So it's estimated that it's going to sell upwards of $500,000 when it goes up for bidding in 19th and 20th of June, which is just...
They also say that a previous Cloud guitar sold for over $700,000. So there's every chance this is going to be a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. The thing that the story is kind of missing for me, other than somebody reading it with the ability to read for the day would be handy. But the thing this is missing for me is I'd be really interested to know what they estimated the price of this was going to be before it was authenticated as the one that they found it out to be. You know what I mean?
It'd probably be quite a hard guitar to actually be able to do that with, to be fair, if they struggled even to authenticate it to start with.
Yeah. I just figure that before that specialist got in touch and told them what they probably have here, we're talking $40,000, and then it's jumped to $500,000. And is that guy now sitting there going, man, I could probably whip round a few people and raise the funds to buy that, and then had it authenticated and sold it for for $500,000. But such is life. Such is life.
That would be a Saurian. There's one story to add. Sorry, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, is that a noble thing to do? It's going to go it's going to go into some rich guitar collector's collection now. So, you know what I mean.
The person that Prince gifted it to might well do well from the money. So
fair.
We can just hope that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
There's one story just before we move on to the last one, which will be funny, that I didn't see posted in our group, and I don't remember us talking about it. Remember, we're talking about Brian May shredding his buttocks.
Yes.
Do you understand that he also almost had a heart attack? He's had a heart attack scare recently as well.
Yeah, well, I think the two were connected, right?
I didn't read that as much, but there's every chance it was.
It just didn't seem funny.
No, I mean, it's not funny, but just want to say we reach out, obviously, to Brian May. It's maybe a wee bit sensationalised, because the way that they've mentioned he was at very near death, and they're saying that 3 arteries to his heart were congested and in danger of blocking the supply of blood to his heart. I mean, that's obviously a very, very dangerous situation and very risky for his life. But to say he was near death when we don't know if there's any events happened around about it, or if it even was part of the consideration for what happened to him, it's maybe a bit sensationalised. All I wanted to say on it was, I hope you're recovering soon and recovering well, Brian.
I did see that he took issue with all of the press covering the gardening accident, saying that they sensationalised it and turned it into a comedy story. And it's like, well, with respect, Brian, they only went on the information that you gave us, and you made it seem like a bizarre gardening accident, which in itself, due to Spinal Tap, is a meme in itself in the music community. So, a mysterious gardening accident that you don't want to go into any more details about. People are going to, when you described your buttocks as ripped to shreds, people are absolutely going to look at that and laugh about it. Obviously not understanding that there could be more serious things there. That's the nature of that. If you give people more information, we wouldn't have laughed so much. Because
absolutely.
Highlighted by the fact that I don't really feel the need to talk about his heart attack or potential heart attack, because enough information has been passed there for us to know that it's not funny.
Well, that's it, right? I just wanted to make mention of it, because we spoke about, obviously, the accident in the garden, and just basically put out there that I hope he's recovering well and he's okay.
Yeah.
You make a very valid point about the media. Anyway, we move on to the last funny story.
This is really funny, and it's kind of like a follow-on from things that we've done previously, and it's also me sort of responding to criticisms that people have had about the way I've dealt with stories and dealt with people in particular. It's Michelangelo Battier. We're going to talk about Michelangelo again, because I gave him a bit of a hard time last time we talked about him, and I want to... golden rule is never apologise for anything, right? That is the golden rule, because people that are looking for apologies aren't really looking for an apology. They don't. The actual getting the apology isn't important to them. It's knowing that their complaining matters enough. Like they feel important enough that them demanding an apology is enough to get one. So we made fun of the Sawtooth Guitars thing. But as part of that, kind of made fun of Michelangelo a little bit. And I still maintain that. I still feel that was justified. His comments about Dave Gilmour and comparing himself to Dave Gilmour. I linked Mike to an article from a year prior to that was essentially the same story. Essentially the exact same story. This same thing had happened a year prior to that. So much so that he got involved in the story in the comments section on Ultimate Guitar, and they updated the story to give Michael's updated thoughts on it. Now, again, you could compare my playing to absolutely anyone in the world, right? And I don't care enough to fight with you about it. I don't care enough to correct you. I don't care enough to tell you you're wrong. Cool. Compare me to whoever you like. It just doesn't bother me. And I've always found it really sad that it bothers Michael as much as it bothers him. Genuinely. I have, over the last couple of weeks, been watching a lot of old Nitro videos and a lot of old Michelangelo videos from around that era. And
Can I just say Jim Gillette's vocal range?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But Jim Gillette's PR skills...
I don't know enough about the guy, so I'll stay well clear of that comment.
There's some hilarious footage of them being interviewed on MTV, and they just come across like they just have they're two guys that have just been plopped into the music industry. And there's a wonderful interview with Michelangelo when he's in Canada, and he's just there sort of playing guitar over clips of things between segments on this TV show, and then he's talking about the band Nitro, what they're all about, what they're off doing, and he just talks about things like he's a 14-year-old kid. Like, he's just super excitable about everything, very enthusiastic, which is all fine. It bugged me a little bit when the guy says, so you're completely self-taught on the guitar, and then Michael's like, yeah man, like I had a guitar teacher for like a couple of months, like when I was much younger, but then like I was so fast that after a couple of months my guitar teacher just said, like, I can't teach you anything anymore because you're faster than me. And it's like, I just wanted to scream at the screen. How do you not realise that there is more to music than how fast you can play? That teacher had a lot that he could have taught you, still a hell of a lot that he could have taught you. And the thing that made me really sort of go, ooh, about the situation is he was 37 in that clip. That's not young, like,
oof.
Yeah.
Big oof.
When Nitro were kicking about, he was 37, which is getting on. So let's read this story, and you'll just see what I mean, right? So why would you feel the need to say this? Michelangelo Batio explains why he refused to challenge Steve Vai to a guitar duel despite label pressure. But, just an addition, says that he would have won.
And then a quote, I have to say, Steve is really cool about it. Steve Vai probably just like, okay, Michael.
Yeah. So during a conversation with Ultimate Guitar, Michelangelo Batio talked about the label pressuring him into challenging Steve Vai to a guitar duel during the late 80s and early 90s Nitro days. Michael is gearing up to release a new album, etc., etc. This is the new stuff.
Wait.
What?
Michael said multiple stories about him challenging other guitarists or being better than other guitarists or whatever else. And he's got an album coming out.
I know.
It's almost like this is a really concentrated effort for him to be relevant for a while.
It's almost like part of the PR game is saying whatever you need to say in order to get attention. And when someone asks you on Guitar TV or MTV or whatever it was, are you so you're self-taught, and you say, yeah, I was completely self-taught, I had a teacher for 3 months, but that totally contradicts all the other times you say that you had classical training. You're classically trained. Like, which is it? Are you a classically trained musician, or do you completely self-taught because you were faster than your guitar teacher? It makes no sense. And let me read this quote. So Steve Vai came out with his 3-neck guitar, and it's really basically copying my idea. But he added the 3rd neck, and we, the band Nitro, were getting ready to release our first record, 1989's OFR, which stood for Out Fucking Rageous. They, the label, knew that they had a great album, and they were really going to promote it. That didn't really work out, did it? We had this meeting, and the president of our label said, Michael, you have 2 necks, Steve Vai has 3. What can you do? I went, 4? And then they wanted me to challenge him to a duel.
Let's just be totally honest, right? Steve Vai is an established artist, and certainly was at that point, having played with Zappa. Michelangelo hadn't even had his first album out with Nitro, and I believe that was the most critical acclaim that he got was with Nitro. Yeah. Correct?
Well, no, I would definitely say Nitro actually weren't very successful at all. It was off the back of doing the Nitro thing that he secured all of the Randall Clinic tour thing, which would then go on to be my understanding of things would be go on to be the way he made most of his money, and the success of that, and from the PR of that, he was doing the Metal Method stuff, so did the Speed Kills videos and things. So I think he wanted to do the Nitro thing, but I think he's definitely been more successful than he was in Nitro.
Cool. So, and that's after Nitro. So
yes.
My point is that Steve Vai, accomplished musician, out doing something with guitar with 3 necks, and yet Michelangelo Batio claims that his label were like, he's copied you. Like, you need to one up him. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and also Vai's first album was out at that point. Flexible came out in '84, so Vai was very much on the scene. Yeah.
Like, did they not play that 3-neck guitar with Zappa?
I think the 3-neck guitar was actually for the David Lee Roth band.
Right.
I could be wrong on that.
I'm just going by...
No, that makes total sense, because Van Halen ended with David Lee Roth in 84, and then Eat 'Em and Smile was 86, I think. 86.
Cool. So we're talking 3 years before Michelangelo Batio's first album was coming out with Nitro, and yet Michael claims that Steve Vai copied him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Checks out, bro.
Like I say, it's just a little bit cringy, and to me, and everybody's going to point this out, and I will accept it as totally, maybe potentially valid, right? To me, this just screams of clout chasing. You know, here's a big successful guy. Steve Vai's super big and successful. You know, the obvious way for me to become successful would be to challenge him in some way. That'll get spotlights on me. And you could absolutely argue that that's what I'm doing right now, right? I'm taking a bit of a poke at somebody that's infinitely more successful in the guitar community than I will ever be. But I'm okay with making that poke, because I like Michael, right? I do. I love his enthusiasm. I genuinely love his enthusiasm for music. Like, again, by all accounts, one of the coolest and nicest guys, but it's really important to remember that you can be a genuinely very nice guy, the best guy in the world, but sometimes also do things that people go, that's a bit embarrassing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't like... Just to clarify, I'm sure this goes along with what you're saying. We're not saying these things to be dicks. We're not saying these things to be like, laugh at Michelangelo Batio. It's like, it's kind of pointing out, like, everybody knows who you are. You're already, at least in the guitar community, like a household name. For good or bad reason, doesn't matter. I look back at Speed Kills, No Boundaries, and be like, that was really impressive. It was maybe way more impressive when I was younger, and I wasn't quite as well versed into the more musical side of things when it was all about technicality and who could be the fastest. But we're not taking the piss at you because we think you're terrible. You're clearly an accomplished musician and you're good at what you do. But as you say, sometimes you just have to look at things that people do and be like, you could make better decisions than that.
And more importantly, if he was playing in Glasgow, if gigs happen ever again, right, I'll probably go see him. I'll definitely go see him, you know?
Not allowed.
Not
allowed.
Well, it's a Michelangelo Batio gig, so nobody will actually be there, so social distancing should be absolutely fine. That was me making a joke. Obviously, I'm just making a joke there. I genuinely
you won't see anyway, he's too fast.
Good point, Hands Without Shadows and all that. If he was doing a clinic thing locally, I'd absolutely go down, you know? I'd look forward to going down. So
I think it would be great. You're right.
Yeah, it's not like Trapped, like where we're genuinely like making fun of them, but also being like, this guy's an actual piece of shit. I do not think that about Michelangelo in the slightest, right? But I can look at something like this and just go, oh, that's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Never heard MD say a bad word about Michelangelo Batio as a person.
Yeah.
Never once.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way, clearly, because he's got a great reputation as a person. And I have no doubt that we would have a great conversation with him. There's probably a lot he could teach either one of us.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Doesn't change the fact that talking about guitar dueling with Steve Vai and saying you're better than Dave Gilmour and stuff, just it's PR, but it's not good PR.
Yeah.
So
there's no such thing as bad PR, but you know.
I would disagree. I'm not sure the Minnesota Police Department are very happy at the moment with their PR, as an example.
That sounds like politics to me.
No, we're not going into that. But just as a great example, that's not an example that bad PR can be good PR. I was just going to say there's a further quote in this that I'd like to read out.
Go for it.
So, when Michelangelo Batio is asked, do you think that these kinds of duels, or any kind of musician duels, are the best way to determine who is better, and why did you refuse, in the end, to battle Steve Vai? Right? So, before we even read the answer, define better. What makes someone a better musician? When honestly, you're talking about a guitarist.
Obviously, I've poked fun at like Stevie T, and the amount of people that respond to me and be like, you know, you're just scared because he'd beat you in a shred battle, right? I'm sorry. I'm 31 actually. I don't know what a shred battle is. What the fuck is a shred battle? It's not like do you think we've been transported back to Victorian times and you can challenge someone to an actual duel? Like, this makes no sense whatsoever. Just shut up with your shred battle. Idiots.
No, I mean, you could take it one further and just say, I mean, in some degree, I accept your challenge, Stevie, but what I actually want you to do is to come to Scotland where we can have a trial by combat.
Yeah, exactly. Trial by combat. Cool. Shred battle. What the fuck is a shred battle?
Exactly. And like, right, so if it's a shred battle, you're claiming that there are certain things that happen, whether it's technique or skills, that would then make one person better than another. Who are the judges?
Yeah.
How are they officiated? What are the rules?
But, why not have like a 3-round, but not all shred battle, like best of 3, including a shred battle, a dance off, and a lip sync challenge? Let's do that. That would be. I would be more interested in doing a lip sync off with someone like Steve than a shred battle. Just the notion of that, it seems so ridiculous to me, because I think when an actual shred battle is nothing more than ego, right? It's genuinely like, I'm better than you. I would happily have a lip sync off with anybody, because that would be for nothing other than fun. You know what I mean? Like, that would just be funny. Yep. I'm happy to do that. So yeah.
If it is just for fun and it's literally just for like content and, as you say, just for amusement, then cool, absolutely. Seeing guys like Jared Dingsy's big shred collaborations, they're cool, because they're just like a backing track with loads of established and sometimes unknown guitarists, at least within the circles, guys that are up and coming or whatever, showing their chops, doing something different, kind of helping build their name and networking. Great. It's not, but like, I'm really restraining myself in the words that I want to use to insult Stevie T and anyone that thinks the words or the idea of a shred battle being some sort of credible way to proving that you are better than somebody else. It's just beyond belief. Grow the fuck up.
And it all comes down to one thing. You can have a shred battle in that scenario, right? And you can't possibly win, because it's not about who's better, right? You're going to watch the guy you support, and other people are going to watch the guy they support, and then the winner, I think, is the one that gets the most people cheering for them, right? But when you've come to the fucking battle with 2 million subscribers, you've already won. You've already won.
Somehow.
Yeah. So, sorry, carry on with your quote.
It's all right. We're both doing it this time.
Yeah.
Getting each other off track. It's great. So, Michelangelo Batio responded to this question saying, well, you see, it was a different era then. In this day and age, the internet has made confrontation popular. When I was coming up, there was no internet. In Nitro, I was told to play fast. If you listen to my former band Holland on Atlantic Records, you'll hear speed, but I was a good enough songwriter to get signed to a major label twice. Warner Brothers twice. I've never heard of the band, but...
How did that work out for you?
I know. Anyway, and so it was really about songs. I wrote all the solos. Every one of the solos on the Holland album was pre-written. I played the exact same thing live all the time. When you think about music, I never thought that music should be a competition. Strange sentence from Michelangelo Batio. And they wanted me to challenge Steve Vai to a duel, and I was thinking about doing it. I truly felt, he even said recently in an article, that he can't do what I can do on a guitar. What he did on the left side, that was he actually tuned it to a chord and strummed. I play left-handed, and I invented the guitar. That's an actual quote. Yeah. But I have to say, Steve is really cool about it. Would it have been really cool to do the duel back then? Yeah, it would have been, like the movie Crossroads. Only I would have been the guy who won that one. But does that take anything away from Steve Vai as an artist? No. Even then I liked Steve Vai, and I respected him. And I thought that the duel is the Olympics. That's not music. And I don't remember reading in my history when Bach went up against another. I'm sure it happened, but I don't remember reading anything about Beethoven challenging one of his contemporaries or Mozart challenging Haydn to a duel. I didn't hear about that. So it's not a normal thing. It's only normal in this generation, because people like confrontation, they like it online, and now it's in real life. It's nothing for people to go after people now, but it wasn't always like that. It wasn't like that.
Sorry, I'm doing it right. It wasn't always like that, Michael. Are you sure? Because I'm sure I remember back in the day, you were either an Eddie Van Halen guy or you were a Randy Rhoads guy. You picked the side and you went to war for that guy, because that level of that battle between two opposing titans, right? You were a Metallica guy or you were a Megadeth guy. That's all pre-internet, man. That's all fucking pre-internet. So I totally disagree.
Fair point. There's only 2 more paragraphs. So it wasn't like that when we were coming up. The 80s in LA, it was like Poison's nothing but a good time. I mean, it was a fun time. We were all having a great time. The weather's beautiful and Steve Vai was cool to me. I never disliked him. And that's why I didn't want to challenge him. It didn't make sense in my mind. Like, what is this for? To prove that I'm better playing left-handed than he is, it didn't make sense to me.
Oh. I will call him out on one thing, right? What he loves to do is he loves to do that hand over the under and over and under and over thing, right? When he does that, you have to understand that most of the notes are open strings, right? He plays a note, and then in the time that his hand goes over the top, he's played the open string about 6 more times, right? And then he plays one note and he does that, right? But if you watch like the speed, I think it's on Speed Lives, when he teaches you those licks, he genuinely tries to pass it off as pick fretted note, pick open string, fretted note, open string, fretted note, open string, fretted note, and it's just a crock of shit. And that's the one thing that he's done, I think, that really bugs me, because I think the only reason that you would do something like that is if you are genuinely trying to mislead people, you're trying to pass yourself off as something that you're not, and under the expectation that no one's going to notice because they just can't process what you're doing to the level that you can. That's one thing I guess does bug me, but still, I do like him.
Yeah, nothing but admiration for him, and maybe it shows how much we admire him at the fact that we are happy to challenge things he said. You know, but we're taking time to look at what his comments are into the public realm and thinking, do we agree with that or do we not?
Yeah,
I think that shows a level of respect rather than just discarding them like laughing at Trapped. You know what I mean?
True.
In my opinion.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Right, one more thing. This is really, really important. This show has been brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. If you are unfamiliar with Ormsby and what they do, I would recommend you head on over to ormsbyguitars.com. Absolutely wonderful instruments made out of Australia by Perry Ormsby. You know, they focus on a lot of really interesting things, probably most notably the multi-scale thing. You can see a couple of them hanging behind my head. I am a big fan of the Goliath series. Having said that, I've also almost ordered myself a Hype over the years, and I think the thing that Ormsby do that, well, lots of companies have dabbled in, but they do a great job of it, is these runs of builds. You can go on their website now, check out the pre-order section of their website, and you will see a series of upcoming runs of guitar. You can get in on those with prepayment plans and really get yourself a nice, well-built instrument for an unbelievable price. So thanks to Ormsby Guitars for supporting the show. Go and check them out and let them know that we sent you. Thanks very much. Okay, so thanks very much to Perry and the guys over at Ormsby, and thank you to all of you wonderful people that are still sat with us an hour into us talking this absolute nonsense, absolute bollocks. But hopefully you've enjoyed your time with us, and of course, yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back next week, having a good time as always, like the LA times in the 80s, right? We'll just be having a good time, and hopefully Steve I will think we're cool. Not cool enough to tune into my streams though, motherfucker.
Well, you don't know that. He may have been watching through another account or whatever.
That's fair. I mean, to be fair, in that last story, I probably should have been rooting for Michael to avenge me. But that would be ridiculous, because that's ridiculous. Please do check out a link in the description wherever you happen to be watching this. You will be able to find a link to our Teespring store where you can check out some of our merchandise. Of course, no one actually buys our merchandise. I think we sold one t-shirt in the last 6 months. So for you wonderful person out there that owns a Guitar Soul shirt, we do appreciate it. It will help to pay for the hosting when we eventually have to rehost this show. So yeah, thank you very much. We do appreciate that.
And just a wee shout out, a wee thank you to Justin Hornbach for the tag the other day. We put his video up where it was him wearing one of your t-shirts.
And the classic Guitar Soul shirt, yeah. Still available.
Thank you.
Get yourself a classic Guitar Soul shirt. Now, Mike, any closing messages for our lovely viewers?
Nothing you haven't heard me say before. I love you all. Please be safe, look after each other. Remember that even if your social distancing or your lockdown rules are changing, there are still other guidelines in place. Remain 2 metres apart. If you're in Scotland, it is a maximum of 8 people from 2 households in an outdoor location. In England, it's 6 people maximum. I don't think they said where from, but again, social distancing. Just use your noggin, all right? Look after yourselves and each other.
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other, you're right. Yeah. Fucking Big Carlin, wasn't it? George Carlin.
Or actually, I'm going to sign it off with the same thing that we signed it off with last week, which was go and tell somebody you love them.
Yes, that's good. That's fair. Let's do that.
But until next time. Did you want to say something? Were you going to say something?
Be good. Look after each other. Don't let Levi prematurely ejaculate you from the show. And bye, fuckers.